Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Felicia. In this video, I'm going to give you a tour of my indoor houseplants. And this video is also a part 2 to a video that I recently posted maybe about a week or two ago at this point. And that video, which was part 1, it was a plant care routine. And so I pretty much just watered, I believe I had 19 plants at the time that needed to be watered. And then as I was filming that video, I figured why not do like a dedicated plant tour so I can show you all of my plants, because in that video I didn't show all of them. This is my summer 2021 indoor plant tour, so let's go see the plants. All right, so starting here at the top, I have my Aglaonema red Siam. This is what that looks like. This actually used to be 2 plants that I decided to pot together into one large pot, and I just really love the fullness of this plant. I just think it looks beautiful in one pot. Right next to that is my ponytail palm, and this one has grown so much since I first got it. My husband got it for me. Matter of fact, he got it for me on Christmas Eve. I ran to Home Depot that day to pick up something, and I came home talking about the ponytail palm, and he just ran out and brought it home for me. And this one has grown quite a bit since I first got it, so I'm looking forward to seeing how big this one can get. Right next to that, I have my Hoya carnosa compacta, or my Hindu rope. I did not think that I would find this plant in store, so I actually ordered one on Amazon, and literally within a day or two I found this one at my local nursery, so now I have 2. Right below that I have my first golden pothos, and this is what that looks like. This one has grown so much since I've gotten it. Definitely one of my favorite plants. I just love trailing plants. I just feel like it really brightens up the room. So this is what she looks like, and if I have a photo, I'll insert a picture of what it used to look like. I bought it pretty full for its size, so it just looks so beautiful. I got this plant pot at either TJ Maxx or Marshall's. Right next to that, I have a little string of pearls plant. I used to have another string of pearls, but that one unfortunately dried out and it just was not growing, so I had to toss that one. But I still love the string of pearls. I like all string of plants. Some of them are easier to take care of than others, but I'm really hoping that this one works out because I think it's such a really pretty plant. Right above that, I have a burgundy Ficus elastica. This one is pretty small. I believe I got it at the supermarket. It was there for like $5.99, so I couldn't pass it up. It's growing pretty slowly as expected, but again, I just thought it was a pretty nice deal for a pretty nice plant. Right next to that one, I have my Pilea peperomioides, or the UFO plant, or the other nicknames they have for this. Really nice plant. I've noticed some growth. It's pretty slow growth, but I have noticed some growth. But I'm fine with the way it looks now. I feel like it looks cute in this little plant pot. These little famous face planters from Target. I feel like everyone and their mom has one. Love these plant pots. I remember I tried to get them last summer when I first got into plants, and I could not find them anywhere. They were just sold out. So when I saw them in store this year and online, I just scooped up so many of them. So you'll see a couple more in this video. Okay, right next to that, I have my ZZ Raven plant, which I was so excited that I found. I believe I found this at Home Depot, if I'm not mistaken. Now, if you guys are unfamiliar with ZZ Ravens, these plant leaves, they're pretty dark green. They almost look black, but you'll notice that I have some lighter green leaves in there. Those lighter green leaves are new growth. Is it called new growth? I'm gonna call it new growth. So anyways, the lighter colored leaves, or the new growth, those are newer leaves, but eventually the leaves will get darker and match some of the other darker leaves. So again, I was so excited when I saw this plant, and I'm definitely looking forward to some growth. And apologies for the plane sound in the background, but you know, when you got a kid, when you find the time to film, you just gotta jump right on it. All right, now on the third shelf, I have my second golden pothos. This one has grown so much. I love this little plant. When I first got it, it was so teeny tiny, but I just couldn't pass it up in the store. I just love it. It's grown so much. Again, I love trailing plants. I love pothos plants. Pothos plants are pretty easy for me to take care of, and I'm saying for me because I've come across people who said that they have some difficulty with pothos. I love the pothos plant, and I love this plant. And there's that plant pot again from Target. This little thing here in the back, this is my daughter's little creation that she put together in school. As you can tell, the plant is dried up. They planted some seeds as part of an art project, so I don't know what they planted in there, but my goal is to dump out that dirt and just get her a little tiny plant just so she can have something to kind of own and take care of, but I didn't want to dump it just yet. All right, and here is my second Ficus elastica. This is what she looks like. I also got this one from my local nursery along with this beautiful plant pot. I was really excited when I found this plant because, again, I wasn't finding it in my local box stores. So when I found it, I had to get up in there. And here's a close-up of the leaves. So beautiful. Love the colors. Yep. All right, right next to that is that little mini Hindu rope that I mentioned before. This is what that looks like. Again, I got it on Amazon. I don't expect to see a lot of growth on this one anytime soon, so I'm just happy with the way she looks for now. This little planter, I got it as a gift around the holidays. I think my Secret Santa got it for me. It's just like a multi-face pot. It just goes all the way around, so really cute plant. Again, maybe by this time next year, there'll be a little bit more growth. These are pretty slow to grow, so again, I don't expect a lot of growth out of this one pretty soon. And that little thing that looks like a stick down the side, if you have one of these plants, make sure you don't cut that because that's where you would see a lot of new growth. You can kind of already see some little like lumps or buds there, so I do expect there to be some growth on those. Right next to that, I have my neon pothos. My husband actually got this for me online because I couldn't find the neon pothos anywhere in stores, so I was really excited when he got this for me. I believe he got this for me around the holidays as well, so this is another holiday gift. Oh, this little mister is from the Hilton Carter collection for Target. Jury is out on that. I don't know how to feel about that, especially for the price. All right, moving down, I have my satin pothos or my Scindapsus. This is what that looks like. This one is finally starting to look a bit healthy and give me some growth. At one point, I had to repot it. I repotted it in a pot that felt like it was way too big, so then I repotted it a second time into something smaller and more compact, and I feel like it's doing a lot better now. So we'll see how this one goes. Beautiful plant. Right next to that, I have another Aglaonema. This one, I don't remember the name of it. I'll put the name on the screen. This one was a plant rescue from one of my local nurseries. I believe I got it for like $5. I did have to cut back a ton of leaves. There were just a ton of yellow leaves, but I have noticed some new growth. I believe there's been like 2 or 3 new leaves ever since. The only thing, as you can see by that little yellow card back there, is the gnats. And I really feel like my gnat issue is more so with the soil and not the actual plant, obviously. So I think pretty soon I'm gonna switch to some organic potting soil just to kind of deal with the gnat issue. I don't have an issue with all of my plants, but with some of them, and you'll notice that I do have those little fly trappers and the ones that are the main culprits. Again, I'm just not a bug person and I just can't with the bugs. Right next to that, I have a Dieffenbachia plant. This used to be 3 small mini Dieffenbachia plants that I planted into one pot. So this is what that looks like. It was kind of struggling for a bit and it still looks like a bit of a struggle plant, but I promise you it is growing and it's doing pretty well. And I like this plant. This one, I definitely try to rotate it because I feel like it's a little top heavy and a little heavier on the sides, more so than other sides. So I'm gonna give this one time to kind of work itself out, but I do like this plant. Next to that, I have my little Birkin here, my Birkin philodendron or philodendron Birkin. This is what that looks like. I have it here in this little gold pot that actually comes with a little stand, which I have there on the floor, but obviously I can't use it on the shelf, so I just have this here. Love my little Birkin. It just has a ton of like dark green leaves that don't have the stripes. And I do know with the darker green leaves, that just means that the leaves are a bit older than the ones that do have the stripes. I'm kind of contemplating whether I want to cut off those dark green leaves or if I should just leave it alone. I think I'll just leave it alone. All right, and then on the last plant shelf, you'll notice I have this empty pot here. I used to have a Calathea ornata. I just recently made the very difficult decision to get rid of that plant. That plant was just a fungus, crispy leaf, dried out, dead leaves mess. It was a beautiful plant, don't get me wrong. I love the Calathea ornata, but it just wasn't working in my care. So again, I'm not a plant person who's just gonna keep a plant just to see if I can bring it back to life. If it's something that's giving me a hard time, then it's just not for me, and I'm okay with that. And I'll either toss it, donate it, you know, leave it in my building lobby so someone else can have it. But in the case of that plant, I did decide to get rid of it just because it had way too many gnats, and I just would not have felt right donating a plant that I knew was infested with gnats to someone. So it had to go. I have my little humidifier there. Right next to that, I have my Alocasia poly plant. Right now it only has 2 leaves. I mean, you guys know about Alocasias. They can be diva plants. When I first got it, I believe it had 4 leaves. 2 of the leaves died off and I got these 2 new leaves. So that's all I have for now. Both leaves are doing pretty fine. That's what it looks like. With these plants, you just have to be careful. I recently switched over to distilled water for those plants, and I try not to give it any direct light. And I found that that has helped with the crisping of the leaves, because that was happening quite a bit for me in the beginning. Okay, right next to that, I have the first of many snake plants. This is just a little mini plant that I have here. This plant actually used to be in my daughter's room, and it used to be in a different plant pot. But I feel like, you know, I've had it for a year and I just wasn't seeing much growth. Oops, excuse me. And I know snake plants are slow growers, but this one just was not, I just didn't see any movement on this, no growth whatsoever. So I repotted it into a smaller pot. I brought it out here closer to my grow lights. So we'll see what happens. Right next to that, I have my Aglaonema wishes. Yep. This is what that looks like. Hopefully you can see. Let me bring it out a little closer. There we go. There's my Aglaonema wishes. And that is a little flower. That flower's been there for a couple of months now, so I do anticipate it will likely be dropping pretty soon. This plant hasn't really given me much trouble. As you can see, this one here, it has some crispy leaves, but I decided to leave it because it doesn't really bother me much. This leaf here on the top, I noticed there isn't much pink on there. I don't know if it's because of anything I'm doing wrong, but it's a great plant. It pushes out a lot of new leaves. There's a new one coming in right there. But I love this plant. I love any type of plant that looks different, whether it's a variegated leaf, a colored leaf. I just think it's such a beautiful plant. So those are all the plants I have on this plant shelf. And again, these are where I have most of the plants in my home. So let me show you the plants I have in the other areas. Right in front of that plant stand, I have my larger burgundy rubber tree, which doesn't look so burgundy anymore. I don't know why it's lost this color. Now it's just like straight up green. But I mean, it's fine. I still really love this plant. This is what that looks like. Right below that, I have my little money tree, and this money tree, I have such a love-hate relationship with this plant, and I do like the money tree, but it's lost leaves, browned leaves, crispy leaves. It looks a lot better than what it looked like probably about a month ago when it was on the brink of no longer being a part of this household. But I mean, my husband just insists that we keep it. His whole thing is we shouldn't toss a money tree. And I get it. I mean, if you believe in those types of things, I totally get it. But again, I just don't see the point in keeping a plant if it's not doing well in your care. My preference would be to donate it to someone else who can bring that plant to life and have it thriving. But thankfully, it's doing a lot better. I did used to have it in our bedroom, but I decided to move it out here to the living room. So there's a door right there on the side, so it gets light from there. It gets light from the window off to the right, and it also gets some light from my grow light. So I think it's doing okay now, but we'll see. All right, next up I have these 2 little plants here at the bottom, these 2 Haworthias. I just have them here on my TV console here at the bottom. The one to the right is obviously a bit more full than this one here on the left, but it's doing okay. And then to the left of my TV console, I have my Alocasia zebrina. Beautiful plant. I got this one at my local supermarket. I had no intention of getting a plant when I got into the supermarket. I think I just went to get like coffee creamer or something, but I'm a type of person, if I go to a store, you know, that has plants, I like to go and look, not necessarily to buy, but I still like to look. And I saw this plant, and at the moment I didn't know what it was. I had to look it up, and this is such a beauty. I want to zoom in on the stem so you can take a look at it. This is of course why they call it an Alocasia zebrina, because of the pattern on the stems. It is just so stunning. You will notice that there is some crispy leaves on there. I've lost a couple of smaller leaves, gained a few new leaves, so I'm still figuring this one out. There isn't a lot of research out there on this plant, so if you guys have any tips on care for this plant, please let me know. Definitely want to keep this plant alive because it's just such a stunning eye catcher of a plant. So this is my Alocasia zebrina. Okay, so on this side of my living room is my snake plant, one of the first plants that I got when I got into indoor plants. I remember I went all over the place looking for a snake plant, and funny enough, I kind of ran into some people, or employees I should say, at the big box stores that weren't familiar with snake plants. It's just crazy in hindsight thinking of it. This is one of the most basic plants out there. How can you not know what it is? And these were employees that did work the nursery, by the way. But I was so glad that I got my hands on this, and I did pick up a few more since then. This is one of my older plants. I have it here in this little white plant pot. There's my little black nursery pot. So this is my snake plant. All right, moving into our bedroom, we have a couple of plants in here. As you can see from these leaves, this is a ZZ plant. I absolutely love ZZ plants, definitely one of my favorites. That's why I was so excited when I finally got my hands on a ZZ Raven. As you can see, this plant has a new shoot coming through, and just recently I did find another one. It's somewhere there in the soil, but this is what she looks like. I've had this plant now since around this time last year, last June, so I've officially had this plant for a year. It has grown quite a bit. Of course, the growth did slow down in the cooler months, but the plant didn't suffer that much. This is definitely a tough plant. So that is my ZZ, and it's in the corner of our bedroom. Right below the ZZ is our snake plant here. This is another plant that we've had for about a year now. This one doesn't grow that much. It has seen some growth since we've had it, but I actually don't mind that it's not big and tall. It's nice and full enough for the pot at least. So I think it's a beautiful plant. It's still thriving. I don't see any issues that would, you know, cause any alarm. I believe this is snake plant number 4. You know, you have too many plants when you forget to include some of them in your plant tour video. So it's like a whole new day. I was actually in the process of editing my video and realized that I forgot a couple. So here we are. So first I'm going to start with my ZZ plant here. This is what that looks like. We have 2 ZZ plants. These ZZ plants are definitely some of the first plants we purchased in our plant collection. So I've had this one officially for a year now. It has grown quite a bit. This is the plant pot that I have it in, and as you can see, I have my nursery pot. So that's my ZZ. And then over here on this side, I have my Ficus Taniki. This has a lot of like brown edges on the leaves. I don't know why that's the case. I assumed that a Ficus elastica plant, you know, would be able to withstand certain elements. I don't know. And this one also has quite a bit of gnats as well. I did order some organic potting soil, which should be arriving in the mail today. So my goal is to replace the potting soil for a lot of my plants that do seem to have issues with gnats. And I'm just gonna replace it. That's it for my spring summer 2021 plant tour. Let me know if you have any similar plants in your home collection. I love watching other plant tour videos because it just gives me inspiration on how I may want to style my plants or set them up. So go ahead and drop your links below. If you have any questions, leave that as well. If not, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.